The night smelled like burnt coffee and pine needles, the kind of strange mix that only happens on Christmas when exhaustion and hope sit at the same table. Snow pressed itself against the diner windows in Des Moines, Iowa, blurring the streetlights into soft halos. Inside, the floor was sticky, the clock was crawling toward midnight, and one quiet moment was about to break a life open in ways no one expected. I had walked into that diner to escape the noise of a lonely Christmas carrying more success than peace. My name is Matthew Collins, and on paper my life looked complete. In reality, the holidays had a way of exposing the empty spaces. The diner was nearly empty, the kind of place still open because someone somewhere always needs warmth. The waitress moved with tired precision, her shoulders slightly hunched, her smile practiced but thin. Her name tag read Rachel Moore, and there was something about the way she carried herself that told a longer story than the few steps between tables. Before the night was over, everything would collapse for her in public, on the one night of the year when mercy should come easily. And before I left that booth, I would realize that sometimes God places us exactly where we need to be, not for comfort, but for purpose. Before the story continues, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that happen when people choose compassion over convenience. Rachel had been working double shifts all week. Christmas Eve had turned into Christmas night without a break, and the diner manager had been watching her like a hawk. One spilled drink earlier, one customer complaint she did not deserve, and a register shortage that was never hers to begin with had stacked silently against her. She was a single mother, though no one there cared to know that. Her hands were dry and red from constant washing, and the small gold cross around her neck caught the light every time she leaned forward. The firing happened quickly, without dignity, without privacy. It was done near the counter, under fluorescent lights that made everything feel harsher. Rachel did not argue. She did not cry. She simply nodded, removed her apron, and folded it carefully as if respect could still be salvaged from the moment. The other customers avoided eye contact. Christmas music played overhead, painfully cheerful. I watched as she walked toward the back, paused for a moment to steady herself, then returned to grab her coat. Her face was pale, but her eyes held something stronger than despair. It was faith mixed with fatigue, the kind that only comes from surviving too many quiet battles. As she passed my table, I saw her lips pressed together, fighting the weight of what waited for her at home. No paycheck, no explanation for her son Caleb, no plan. Something inside me shifted. I had spent years building businesses, solving problems with money and strategy, yet this was different. This was a human moment, raw and unscripted. I paid my bill, left more than necessary, and stood as she reached the door. I did not raise my voice or make a scene. I simply acknowledged her worth in a way no one else had that night, reminding her through actions that dignity does not belong to employers, but to God. Rachel stepped out into the snow, and I followed, not as a savior, but as someone finally awake. Outside, the cold was sharp, and the parking lot was almost empty. She stood there for a moment, breathing in the night, as if preparing herself to be strong for one more day. I offered her a ride, knowing the buses had stopped running hours ago. She hesitated, then nodded, trusting not me, but the quiet nudge she believed came from above. On the drive, she spoke about her son's excitement for Christmas morning, about how she had promised him everything would be okay. She did not complain. She did not blame. She simply shared, like someone laying a burden down. For a moment before picking it back up, I listened, realizing how rare it was to hear strength spoken so gently. In the days that followed, I could not forget her story. Christmas passed, but the image of Rachel standing in that diner stayed with me. I learned more about her situation through small conversations. She had worked there for years. She had never missed a shift. She volunteered at church. She believed that God saw her even when people did not. I owned a small hospitality group, including a cafe in Omaha, Nebraska, built on values I claimed to live by but rarely tested. I offered Rachel a chance, not as charity but as respect, a job with fair hours, health coverage, and the dignity she had been denied. She accepted, tears finally breaking free, not from weakness, but from relief. Rachel flourished. Customers noticed her warmth, her attention, the way she made people feel seen. She trained others, lifted morale, and slowly rebuilt her confidence. Caleb visited after school sometimes, sitting in the corner with homework and crayons, safe and smiling. The cafe became more than a workplace. It became a place of healing. Months later, on another snowy evening, Rachel told me she had started believing again, not just in survival, but in grace. Her faith had carried her through the fire, but kindness had shown her she was not alone. Watching her grow reminded me that success without compassion is hollow, and that sometimes the greatest return on investment is a restored soul. If this story has touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep stories of faith, kindness, and second chances alive. Before the ending, I want to ask you something special. Please comment the word grace below if you believe that even on the coldest nights, God is still working behind the scenes. On the following Christmas, I returned to that same diner. Different manager, same lights. I ordered coffee and watched people come and go. Outside, snow fell gently, just like before. Somewhere not far away, Rachel and Caleb were decorating a tree in a warm apartment, laughter filling the room. A life once shaken on Christmas night had been rebuilt, not by luck, but by love put into action. Sometimes the miracle is not the moment of pain, but the person who refuses to look away. And sometimes all it takes to change a life is the courage to say, and truly mean, that someone deserves better.